I'm about to ask more questions to the trial.
Everybody ready? This is the 180.
This time he's Cortez Harris.
The Cortez. Okay. Yeah.
All right, next witness, Mr. First.
Judge, we're going to ask that Cortez Harris come out.
All right. Mr. Harris, please come around here to the witness stand. Come up to the top here and we will swear you in. Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Be seated, sir.
Mr. Harris, I'm Marty First. I'm with the District Attorney's Office. Tell us your name, please.
Cortez Harris.
And you were one of the defendants in this case, and you pled guilty, it looks like, back on June 2nd, correct?
Yes, sir.
Take a look at that and tell me if that's your signature where you pled guilty on this case.
Uh-huh.
And you'll have to say yes or no if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
When you came in and pled guilty, you pled guilty in front of this judge,
Yes, sir.
and this prosecutor over here was the prosecutor, Ms. Gillis, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you had an attorney, right?
Yes, sir.
That's Mr. Alexander, Robert Alexander.
Yes, sir.
If you need to look at that, go ahead. But that's your guilty plea and your sentence and your signature when you pled guilty, right?
Yes, sir.
Can I get that back from you if you're done looking? This is a certified copy and it's State's Exhibit 17. We ask that we tender it, please.
No objection.
Be admitted.
Mr. Harris, when you got arrested on May 16th last year on this case, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell us where you were when you got arrested. Where were you?
I don't know.
Were you in a car hiding?
Yeah, I was in a car.
And from the time that you got arrested on May 16th, did you stay in jail until you pled guilty?
Yes, sir.
So you were in the Cobb County Jail all that time.
Yes, sir.
And when you came in and pled guilty, how much time did you get?
20 years.
20 years prison, right? No probation or nothing like that, right?
25.
Well, I'm looking at it here. 20 years on the armed robbery, right? Correct?
Yeah.
And then 5 years on the possession of firearm by a convicted felon, but that's concurrent. Did you understand what concurrent means? Running at the same time?
Yes, sir.
So you didn't get 25, you got 20 total, right?
Yes, sir.
So have you gone down to prison?
Yes, sir.
And then we brought you back. How long, when did you get back? About a week ago or something?
2 weeks ago.
So you're back in the jail here so you can be here. When you pled guilty, you knew the evidence that the state had on you, right?
Yes, sir.
You knew that the detective had been listening to your jail calls, correct?
No, I didn't know it.
You didn't know that? Your attorney gave you the discovery, right? All the stuff that we sent to your attorney?
Yeah, I knew when he gave me my discovery.
I mean, when you pled guilty, Ms. Gillis actually played some of your jail calls for you in court, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you actually heard jail calls in court and admitted, That was you on the calls, right?
Yeah,
Okay. So you understood that Judge Ingram made it a condition of your sentence that you've got to testify truthfully on Joshua Gerard's case, correct?
yeah,
Okay. So let me ask you, how old are you?
28,
What is your birth date?
June 16th,
Of what year?
87.
So when all this happened, you had already been convicted of a couple of felonies before this case, correct?
Yeah,
Okay. Had you been to prison up in Illinois?
yeah.
All right. Were you on probation when this happened, or had you finished up with probation and so forth?
I wasn't on nothing.
Okay. So this guy you robbed, Devon, did you know this guy? Had you ever met Devon?
Nope,
Had you ever been to his house before?
no,
The gun that you used, we got it in here. Where did this gun come from?
I bought it.
You bought it, okay? Obviously, we've got State's Exhibit 22 here. Can you see it? That's the gun that was used in the robbery?
Yeah,
Okay. So how was it that you got over to that neighborhood that night?
I drove.
You drove?
Yes,
That's completely different than what you said on your jail calls and what you said when you pled guilty, isn't it? Right?
yeah,
You admit that's different?
yeah.
I'm going to show you a transcript of when you pled guilty, okay? You can look at it. But when you...
Can I say something?
Well, let me just ask you the questions. That's kind of how it goes, okay?
That's what I don't want to answer no questions.
Well, a lot of people don't want to be in court or answer questions, but it's part of what has to happen. Let me ask you this. What car is it that you said that you got over to that neighborhood? What car did you come in?
I don't remember.
What color was it?
I don't remember.
Well, you already told the jury that you were in a car hiding when the police got you. Is that the same car that you got there in?
I don't remember.
You don't remember. I'm going to play one of the calls that you've already listened to in court.
Objection, Your Honor. May we approach?
Yeah, do we need the court reporter?
Probably. The recordings have not been tendered. It's not in evidence. There is no foundation yet with this witness that anything that is about to be played is anything other than hearsay. So I object to any jail calls being played at this point.
We've already laid the foundation for the audio, and he has to listen to a little bit before he can say that's my voice on there. Actually, I can probably tender it beforehand. But I mean, I'm certainly allowed to say, is this your voice?
Judge, I'm not trying to belabor the point or make things difficult. It needs to be done with the jury out of the room. And I don't know what content is going to come out in front of this jury. And I agree, the CDs have been authenticated, but they are not in evidence yet. So it doesn't need to be played to the jury.
I will tender them then. If that is the impediment, I will tender 15 and 16.
Okay, do you have an objection?
I do. Not to authenticity. They have been authenticated. I have an objection to the content, depending on what the state intends to play. Clearly, 125 calls are not relevant, and I don't believe that anything, depending on which individual ones they want to play to the jury, I would say hearsay at this point until more of a foundation is laid.
That's what I'm doing, laying a foundation for prior inconsistent statements. That's exactly what I'm...
Which ones are you going to play?
One where he says he was lying over this.
I think what we need to do is send the jury out and see if the state can lay a foundation before something is played.
We have the transcript. He's already listened to this tape. He's already listened to this particular portion. I mean...
I apologize, Your Honor. My concern is the only thing he said so far is I don't remember. I drove to the neighborhood and I don't remember what car I was in. If this recording that's going to be played is inconsistent with that part, I don't have an objection. But I don't think that's the content. I don't think it's confined to simply showing inconsistency with the statements that he's made so far. And that's the only foundation that we have thus far.
I think not only the prior inconsistent statement, but it's also something that can be used to refresh his memory. He's claiming a lack of memory at this point. So it's actually admissible for two reasons.
I will let you ask him just briefly if that's his voice. And if he says yes, I will admit it. But then I guess I will have to see what he says as far as recollection or whatever. I'm going to hold on that a minute and see.
Thank you.
Mr. Harris, you were in court on June 2nd. You pled guilty. Your attorney was here. And Ms. Gillis played you some jail calls, some of your jail calls, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to play one of those that she already played for you. That's you talking to somebody, correct?
Yes, sir.
So did you tell somebody that he did drive you over there, correct?
No, I don't remember saying that.
But you admit that's you on the recording, correct?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, so let me ask you this again. How did you get over there?
I drove over there.
Can I have just a moment, Judge?
Let's take a brief recess.
That's the 180.